Welcome to Diverse Orange, our conversation about diversity here in Central Florida. My guest today is Saadia Qureshi. Welcome, Saadia.
Hi, Terry. How are you today?
Good. Well, you have been involved in some interesting things here in Central Florida, but first, let me find out, uh, were you born in Central Florida?
No, actually, I was born in Pakistan, and I came to the United States when I was 3 years old, and we lived in Pennsylvania and Virginia for a couple of years. And then when I was 8, we moved down to Winter Springs, Florida, and so I haven't left the Central Florida area since then. I went to Redbug Elementary, I went to Keith Elementary, I went to Jackson Heights, Oviedo High School, and University of Central Florida, and I got married here, and now I'm raising my own kids here in Central Florida.
Well, at 3 years old, you probably don't remember much about Pakistan from when you were there.
No, not really, but although we have visited, a couple of times throughout my time here,
All
so
right.
yeah.
Well, when you moved, so you went to school in the United States, and what was that experience like in the different places you were at? And as you came to Central Florida, were you made to feel welcome, or were you not?
That's a great question. So I think like as an adult, when you look back on your like upbringing, you kind of remember key moments here and there. And I have like good key moments and not so good key moments. But um, yeah, I think my formative years where I actually remember more is the Central Florida area. And when we came here, I remember being one of maybe three um, colored people in my classroom. So I was in third grade, and I remember I being one of the only like brown people in my grade, and that was what it was like for a long, long time, probably until I got to like UCF, and that's where I saw more diversity.
And
But
is that something that you were made very aware of, or just an observation?
I think it was probably an observation. Like you know, I don't know. I guess like when you don't know what you don't know, you kind of just are like, oh, that's just what it is, right? So,
But you
um,
weren't necessarily made fun of or
oh
pushed.
yeah, no, no, not yeah. I think kids are kids, right? And they only know what they're
So who,
taught.
who hasn't been made fun of, right? Is
Yeah,
that the thing?
exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, so, um, but I'm here. I'm glad. I mean, I like it enough to still be here, so it must have been not that bad. So
And you have maintained your Muslim religion that you grew up with, yes?
yeah, yeah. So I'm of the Muslim faith.
But I understand you met a particular Christian person, and the two of you got together and kind of have started an organization.
Yeah, well, what had happened was that after our not last election, but the election before that, I was kind of sad and depressed, and I'm like, oh, I need to like get out of my head and do something. So I decided to go to the gym. And if you know anything about me, I don't like exercising. I don't enjoy the gym atmosphere, but I'm like, I just need to get out. So I went there and I took a Zumba class because I do like loud music. So I'm like, oh, that uplifts people's soul. Let it uplift my soul. So I went there, and a woman came up to me, and she just said, I am so sorry for everything that's happening right now, especially with your community. Just know that you're not alone. You're here. We are with you. We are one. And from there, my friend Anna and I started meeting, and we started meeting with her friends and my friends, and we just tried to create a greater community where people who would normally not do life together were actually doing life together and having intentional conversations together about, how we struggle and how we are trying to raise our kids and how we're trying to, create a better community. So yeah, so that's what we've been doing. We've been doing it for about 4 years now, and it's pretty amazing. And from there, I joined a nonprofit who wanted to do the same thing. Um, the nonprofit's name is Preemptive Love Coalition, and we now help encourage other groups around the world start gatherings. We call them gatherings. Uh, start gatherings in their neighborhood to where people are meeting and understanding and listening to each other and trying to create a better world, hopefully.
Great. And have you seen any instances of where someone that might have seemed cold and reserved through the gatherings have become more understanding and open?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Like, I think we all have become more open and understanding, honestly. But like one specific instance was, we do a lot of listening exercises where we have people pair up and they just share their story, and you're just supposed to listen. So my friend and the person that she was paired up with, were just talking to other. And my friend started sharing about how she was harmed growing up for being Muslim and being brown, and she wears a hijab, and her hijab was taken off, and in that moment, like the other person was just listening, and she was just crying, and she's like, "I am so sorry, and I never knew this about you," and it was a very touching moment that we heard about afterwards. And I was telling my friend in the moment that, I never even knew this happened to you either. And she's like, "Well, you never asked, right?" So I think it's not only changing people who might not see us for us, but it's also changing ourselves for each other. So, yeah, it's been just an amazing experience all around.
And are your gatherings only of women?
So mine started out only women just because my friend Anna and I just brought our friends together who were women. But in other states and other cities, there are women, there are men, there are people who meet as families. So it just depends. But in the Central Florida one is only women, mine specifically.
And preemptive love, besides doing gatherings, I think is involved in other ways of trying to end war. Is that right?
Yeah, so their mission, or our mission, is to end war and stop the spread of violence. And we do that in three ways. We do that through community, which is what I do. We do that through relief, which is when the first bombs drop, when the first natural disaster happens. We try to show up with food and medical aid and life supporting things. And our third way is by creating jobs, because we understand that, you know, through providing sustainable means of income, people and communities become whole, and through that wholeness, we're able to uh, seek peace. So yeah, so that's how we do it, and we're just trying to do it in various different forms. We're doing work in Syria, in Iraq, Venezuela, and Colombia, and Mexico. Um, and we're just plugging away.
Well, we appreciate you being here and plugging and
Thank you.
providing interesting diversity to our community. What is one thing that you, from your background, you think is something that's very good for our community to know?
I think one thing that I feel like that my own personal life has been changed by um, is just putting yourself out there. Like my friend Anna came to me as a complete stranger and just put herself out there, trying to bring community together, trying to let people know that they were seen and they belong. And I think if we all did that together, that we would really embody this thing that we say, that we belong to each other. And through that, I think we're going to the possibility of creating a greater, more beautiful community is more possible.
Right.
More
We're
possible.
naturally not going to broaden the diversity of our friends and acquaintances unless we step out of our comfort zone a little bit.
Exactly.
In fact, you
Exactly.
don't reach a goal unless you leave a comfort zone. So
Yeah.
hopefully, all of us will have a goal of understanding the broad world even more than we do today.
Yeah, and that there's beauty in it. I mean, there's always hesitation and fear, but um, there's so much beauty in learning about, people or stories that are different than our own.
Yes. Well, thank you for bringing yourself and your story to us in our community. Thanks for being on Diverse Orange today. Thank you for watching. I also do a Playfully Orange on Thursdays about arts and culture, conversation with someone. But today it was Saadia Qureshi. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me, and I'm so excited to join you in this journey.
Great. Bye.
Bye.